Alright, I've finally seen Fantastic Four twice now, so I thought this would be a better time than any to finally give my thoughts and really dive into Fantastic Four, except I didn't really want to just do any other review, so I thought maybe we could take a look at some Letterboxd reviews, give my thoughts on those while also trashing some people online. Not bad, or you could just watch The Incredibles again. It is pretty crazy that the Fantastic Four have been around for around 100 years at this point, 80 years, and The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie that we have by far. And honestly, I don't see a world where any Fantastic Four movie ends up actually surpassing it at this point. Favorite Marvel outing since Endgame. I've always been a fan of these characters from a comic standpoint, and this is a great adaptation in my opinion. The retro-futuristic looks great and really helps the world building. I appreciate the commitment to the bit, A+ for effort. The comic being written in the 60s and then the 2025 film being retrofuturism, that's gaggy. I don't know what that means. I also like that they're all smart and level-headed. They're all astronauts, so they know how to do difficult astronaut things. It's not just Reed Richards' show. I will say this, I think this is something I really appreciate about the film, is that Johnny Storm is actually smart. In the comics, Johnny Storm is this womanizing hot bag of ass, but he's also an intelligent person. He's not just a hot bag of ass, you know. He's actually able to contribute to the team more than just lighting things on fire. And the movie actually does that really well. They actually explore that, and he's not the main reason why they end up succeeding in the end, but he's definitely a top 3 reason. Fantastic 4.5, nice one. Get that guy a comedy special. Galactus might be on the Epstein list because being so okay. Alright. Ooh, this is actually a good one. Don't introduce me to a lifestyle you can't maintain, Marvel. Quite possibly the most visually stunning MCU film ever. Absolutely striking visuals that gave me a 2001 Interstellar vibes at points. Yeah, this is gonna be a hard one to follow, because eventually after this movie, Marvel will probably, especially because the Russo brothers are taking on the next Avengers movie, Marvel will probably go back to having very gray movies. The Russo brothers do have a lot of sauce, but they don't have this visually compelling, stylistic cinematography that Fantastic Four was able to accomplish. So we are going to go back to a more gray tone Marvel movie. But as long as if the stories are up, I don't think it will really matter. I mean, I trust the Russo brothers to make a good Avengers movie, so I don't know. I'm hoping that the stylistic choices do somehow start being completed and maintaining their structure throughout the rest of the MCU, and maybe the rest of the MCU can continue to look as good as Fantastic Four did. But I do think that might be a little bit out of reach, even though obviously they have the budget for it. Praising Marvel for being this good in 2025 feels like praising a bird for flying. The bar should not be this low. I've had this on my mind for a really long time. I think I need to talk about this. So she gave it a 3-star. I would say it's a little bit up. I gave it a 3.5, but it doesn't matter. Praising Marvel for being this good in 2025. Marvel never lost its sauce, and I don't know why we choose to exploit Marvel as this company that lost they're back. They never lost it. Every single phase that they've ever had some stinkers. They just did. Thor: The Dark World, people talk about it being the worst. It was almost right at the beginning. It was right after the Avengers, and Iron Man 2 was even right after the Avengers. That was 2 stinkers right after the Avengers, and nobody talked about it being dead then. But yet everybody talks about it being dead now, and obviously the clear reason is the TV shows. The TV shows, they put out way too many, and none of them were that special, besides Loki. Loki's fantastic, but besides Loki, none of them were really that special. So I think that's what gives people the idea that Marvel has fallen off, but they really haven't. All their movies are still, top notch, if not at least pretty good. I mean, what are the last released? So their last releases are Fantastic Four, solid, really good. Thunderbolt, really, really good. I think better than Fantastic Four, but that's an argument for another day. Captain America Brave New World, kind of a stinker. I do think that if you watch Captain America Brave New World without knowing that the Red Hulk is in the movie, it makes it, let's say you give it a 5 out of 10, I think it makes it a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't think is the best movie, but it is it's an audience favorite, and it's not a critically acclaimed Oscar bait movie, but it is an audience favorite. And then the Marvels is extremely overhated. It's funny, it's good. It's probably a 5 or 6 out of 10. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is fantastic. Fantastic. I think I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is really, really, really good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Their last 6 are all solid. They're all solid or good, So I think people need to stop this narrative that Marvel is dead and needs to come back. It never left. It didn't. It never left. Just some of the TV shows weren't that good, which the casual fan really isn't even watching all of the TV shows anyway, so why does it matter? 5 stars. Kevin Feige saw Vanessa Kirby act out one of the most traumatic birth scenes ever put to screens in Pieces of a Woman and said this is exactly what Marvel has been missing. Now, I've never seen Pieces of a Woman. I'm only highlighting this review because the birth scene in the spaceship it's the best scene in the movie. It is the most stressful, 8 minutes? 12 minutes? Something like that. From the second you meet Galactus to the moment that the scene ends after the Silver Surfer is... Actually, no, the Silver Surfer is before... Ooh, when does that end? After the birth, I guess. So from the moment you meet with Galactus to the birth scene is the single best, probably 12 minutes of that movie. That entire sequence is perfect. Like, Matt Shackman actually knocked it out of the park with that entire scene. Oh, here's Weffello. This movie is sauce, man. It's enjoyable throughout. The characters really feel like a family. Galactus is daunting and intimidating as he should be. The use of their powers is great. My expectations were met. I think that's a really important thing about this movie is that everybody's expectations were most likely met. If you were expecting a 5-star movie, I think you were aiming a little bit too high. But I think everybody's expectations were either met or enhanced on. A lot of people going into the movie were really, really scared about the cast, and I think the entire cast showed that they were the right pick. Even if you didn't love it, I think you can look at the entire cast and be like, yeah, they were all pretty solid, and they all knew what they were doing. I think the only person that I wish I saw more of was actually The Thing, because Evan is such a perfect casting. But The Thing is actually really underutilized in the entire film. And I wish he was able to be given more responsibility, I guess. The first half is better than the second half. I think I would agree with this. I think the middle is actually the strongest point of the movie. I think the first half to me kind of feels like a trailer, which I think that's what they were going for. The first half is the trailer for the Fantastic Four so that they don't have to do the whole origin. So I don't think the first 30 minutes is probably what he's talking about. I don't think the first 30 minutes is as strong as many people say it is, just because I don't think it really feels like the beginning of a film. It feels like just an introduction to the characters, which again is what it's supposed to be. But then once you get to meeting Galactus, it is perfect. And then I know a lot of people don't really like the ending. I think the ending becomes a lot stronger on your second watch. Once you know where it's going, I think it actually works a lot better. I questioned Joseph Quinn's initial casting, but now he might be my favorite of the 4. Same. I really didn't know if he was going to be able to pull off the role. I hadn't really seen him in much. I saw him in the Quiet Place sequel, and then prequel. And then I've seen clips of him in Stranger Things. I haven't watched the entire show. So I was a little nervous. that he could pull off the cocky womanizer that is the Human Torch and Johnny Storm, but he actually ended up doing a really good job and was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think I don't think I could sit here and say he's a better fit than Chris Evans, but who really is. So I think he did a fantastic job. We might be back again. We never left. So much love. The first half has some of the strongest filmmaking I've seen from the MCU in years. Again, agree. I don't think I can really act like the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four is this incredible thing when really it's just a big trailer to get you set up. Such a shame most of the green screen works. Looks like poop from a butt. I think that's a nitpick. I don't know. I haven't heard really anybody say that, and I did not notice I don't think I noticed a single moment of green screen in the entire film. Maybe let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. That doesn't feel right. I give this a Fantastic Four great review. This guy knows what's up. Galactus is finally isn't a goddamn cloud. I think we at least need to acknowledge that this is a huge step up from the 2005 version. I personally love the 2005 version. It's what I grew up on, being literally when I was born. And then I love Rise of Silver Surfer too, maybe even more, even though it's even worse of a film. I just love both of those movies. But this is clearly a step up when we're talking about actual like filmmaking aspects and comic accuracy. It's just obviously a huge step up that I don't think you have to knock either of them to be able to push the other one up, though. It's so jarring to go from Superman to the Fantastic Four because it shows how formulaic the Kevin Feige machine has become. Once again, with a story made by committee, let's just go from point A to point B with nothing to say. Once again, a villain with shit motivations. Once again, a big portal to save the day. Once again, goop CGI and action that feels weightless. This guy has never had sex and never will, and he's a terrible person. I don't get how you can walk out of a film. I don't get how people can go see movies and not love movies. I don't know how you can go and watch this and that is what you walk away from. And this review gets much longer. That I would assume probably gets meaner and just more cynical. And I don't think there's any need to walk out of a movie feeling this cynical about it. When we're talking about a movie about the Fantastic Four, we're talking about comic books. Like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about comic books. And when we're talking about comic books, there's no point, especially I hate this review. This is clearly a film that not only I would say has a very compelling story, but clearly a lot of people cared when they were making it. The aesthetics, the visuals, the family dynamic. Obviously, people put a lot and thought and care into this movie. And to boil it down to let's go from point A to point B with nothing to say is just a cynical, dumb review. So shout out to this guy for worst review of the day. I never thought I'd witness Evan Moss rock hard on the big screen, but that's the thing. This film really clobbers expectations. That's just a fantastic review. Shout out to this guy. Who is this? Shout out to her. Great top 4 too. Great top 4. Marvel has really made its comeback this year. This was fantastic. Absolutely loved the retro feel to it. Vanessa Kirby's face card is lethal. Vanessa Kirby is mocking this entire movie. It doesn't matter the situation. She is dying in the movie and she is mocking us. It is kind of ridiculous. I think they should have told her to tone it down a little bit. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we've got? Yeah, the family is obviously the strongest aspect of the movie. They do a good job of making it feel like they've been together for a long time. And they do a good job of building on that family as the story goes. I actually think I wouldn't have minded if we were able to get even more moments of the family just hanging out, just being a family, kind of like the scene from Age of Ultron that people always point to. That, but with the Fantastic Four, just another moment to build their chemistry and show us that they are this family that's together and strong, and why they are Marvel's first family. Half a star review. The rare occasion in which the set design does all the heavy lifting, absolutely awful. I felt embarrassed watching this, both for the cast and crew who worked on it, and especially for myself. So long, Marvel. It was fun while it lasted. Yeah, this guy's a Debbie Downer. I don't know what to tell this guy. Maybe go see the movie again. Maybe you missed some spots. Maybe you fell asleep. Again, this is just a cynical review. But it has 680 likes, so clearly people are taking a liking for it. But opinions differ, I guess, because most people at least can acknowledge that it's a good movie. Half a star, and you're embarrassed for the cast and the crew, is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. I've seen a lot of 3 stars and 3.5 stars, and I think that's a really good spot for the movie. Anybody who's given it 5 stars is, they're fair, but I think anywhere between a 6 and an 8 is a really, really solid rating. Obviously, opinions differ. People are going to give it lower or higher, but I think that's a really solid spot. Imagine my surprise when I saw Pedro Pascal having to decide if he saves his kid or the world again. I don't know what that's referencing, if I'm being honest. But I thought this would be a good spot to talk about how I'm very happy with the Pedro Pascal casting. I actually think he did a really good job, and he brought a really important part of the role to Reed Richards, which is his mentality. Because of how high his intelligence is, sometimes he lacks empathy. Just completely lacks empathy, and they actually do a really good job of exploring that, but still making him a character that you want to root for, a character that you want to be on his side, even though he's obviously going to make the hard decision, even if it is the wrong decision. If Vanessa wasn't there, or if Sue Storm wasn't there, there's a good chance he would have given up the kid. And Sue Storm kind of grounds him, which I think is also very important. And I'm really happy that they brought that to the movie. And I actually hope that they build on that in the next one, rather than kind of throwing it to the side and hoping that we get it from the first movie. Has a lot of heart, but is unfortunately overshadowed by Kevin Feige. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what this review means. It's overshadowed by Kevin Feige. Because he's big? Because he's fat? That's rude. I don't know why you would say that. What do you mean she's not on the surfboard? Silver Surfer, Julia Gardner, is the single best part of this movie. She's the best character. She has the best action. She has the best scenes. I am so happy with how they dealt with the Silver Surfer. Every scene where she surfs, where she genuinely surfs on the lava, is the coldest thing I have ever seen put to film. I am so happy with her. People were upset that they did the Shala Ball rather than the Norrin Rad. Don't care. I was a little confused, even though I think that they did it because this is this separate universe. So they wanted to do the lesser known Silver Surfer so that they could save the Norrin Rad for our main 1999 universe. And I'm super happy with that choice just because of how good Julia Gardner is in this movie. And all of her scenes are just peak. They're actually peak. They are so good, and I think that they make the movie to me. Best Marvel movie of all time? Question mark. No. I think it's clearly not. If you have that opinion, I think that's fine. I think you're wrong. There's still a lot that I think I could pretty clearly put above it. I would put, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Infinity War, the first Avengers, Endgame, No Way Home. I think there's still a lot that you could pretty clearly put above it. But, I'm happy that guy liked it. So, Fantastic Four, I've seen twice, and I think it's a really solid addition to the MCU. And I'm very happy with the way that it turned out, and it did meet my expectations. I don't know if I could exactly say it exceeded my expectations, but it definitely did meet my expectations. So I do have my MCU movies ranked. There are some that I haven't watched in a while, so it's it's not a perfect list. But this is my rank, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Fantastic Four right now comes in at my number 14, and I think that's I think that's exactly where I would have wanted it to be. I mean, if I would have been fine with it being a 10 out of 10, and I put it in the first spot. But I don't think that was a realistic expectation, especially for a movie that is supposed to introduce so much and introduce an entire universe and then bring it back to our universe. I think it was an unrealistic expectation if anybody had that expectation. But I'm really happy with where it ended. So yeah, leave a like and subscribe. I would love to do it again for any other new movies coming out. And you guys have a great day. Thank you for spending your time with me. And thank you for letting me waste your time.